All right, it's time to take a look at the newspaper headlines this morning, and we will begin with the Voice of Liberty newspaper. The major story here says, Senators donate December salaries to victims of Kaduna bombings. Senators donate December salaries to victims of Kaduna bombing, and that is the picture there of a delegation of senators led by Senator Barau Jubril to the victims, to see the victims, to commiserate with the victims and the state government there. Another story here, disclose Nigeria's daily oil production export details. Serap urges NNPCL. And Katsina, Governor Rada joins security operatives, rescues kidnapped victim. Fix worry refinery, stop deceiving Nigerians. Ipman to federal government. ECOWAS summit, President Tinubu advocates good governance to counter coups in West Africa. These are some of the stories you find on the front page of the Voice of Liberty newspaper. To the first newspaper now. The major story, 109 senators need December salaries to Kaduna aero bombing victims. And that's the picture there of the Senate President and also some other senators deliberating on issues there. Another story here, Akeredolu Clark writes, Tinubu says doctrine of necessity will end under crisis. Akeredolu Clark writes, Tinubu says doctrine of necessity will end under crisis. Two other stories here, ECOWAS threatens to deploy standby force, resumes talks with Niger Republic. Compensate victims of accidental airstrikes or risk legal action, senior advocate of Nigeria, Femi Falana, tells federal government. Works Ministry inherited 1.5 trillion naira debt from Buhari's government. The minister, Dave Umahi, is speaking. We are only able to transmit 8,100 megawatts of 13,000 megawatts generated electricity. The transmission company of Nigeria is speaking. Why there's naira scarcity, the CBN is reporting, talks about panic withdrawals and says that there's enough cash in circulation, just that some persons have withdrawn above necessary. To the Blueprint newspaper now. Tundumbiri bombing, military leadership not complicit, Northeast elders are saying. Senators donate 109 million naira to victims. Another story here, federal government takes bold steps to address persistent power outages. It's unfortunate many see politics as a meal ticket. Jime is speaking. Troops kill notorious terrorist followers in Niger air strikes. The army is saying. And the tragic Sunday, 16 perish, 27 injured in Kaduna, Abuja auto crash. A really sad one there. May their souls rest in peace. Those are some of the stories you find on the front page of the Blueprint newspaper. And to the Guardian newspaper now. Asset declaration, 6 months on, Tinubu's net worth unknown, CSO's kick. And there you see an infograph of presidents who declared their assets. The late Yaradua declared assets valued at 856.5 million, yearly income 18.7 million naira. His wife Ture had 19 million naira. Goodluck Jonathan's asset kept secret. It says Buhari declared less than 30 million naira in his bank accounts. Breakdown shows $150,000, 2 mud houses, livestock, orchard, and a plot of land. And then former President Olusegun Obasanjo's asset in 1999 and 2007 are also unknown. Two other stories now disclose how much oil Nigeria produces, exports, Serap tells NNPC, and Nigeria lost over 15 multinationals in 3 years, talking about businesses leaving the country. Now, time to reorganize and adopt state policing. That's the editorial you'll find there in the pages of the Guardian newspaper. We'll move now to the Leadership newspaper, why Nigeria is going down. And Person of the Year, The president is said to be the person of the year. And the quote here says, for a can-do spirit that has marked him out as a quintessential politician, for breaching monumental odds to emerge as a candidate of his party and winning the 2023 election, and for a raft of difficult but necessary decisions to reposition the country, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is the person of the year 2023. To the Daily Trust newspaper now, the major story here says why Naira scarcity persists despite Supreme Court judgment. Queues for cash resurface, POS operators hike charges, banks ration withdrawals, complain of cash limit, no need to panic, the CBN is saying. And we see another story here, 2024 budget, Works Ministries to spend 1 billion naira on grass cutting, 3.1 billion naira on vehicles. Okay, and we'll move now quickly to the Nigerian Tribune. Importers, exporters incur losses as exchange rate hike bites. Review exchange rate policy, CPPE tells CBN. And Kanu Southeast Security Ohanes Ndigbo to table key demands before President Tinubu. Cash crisis hits, anger spreads, POS operators hike commission. There is insufficient stock for economic activities, or rather there is sufficient stock for economic activities. That's what the CBN is assuring Nigerians of. Tough times for Nigerians as developers increase house prices by 70%. Okay, some other stories here. Coup, Tinubu wants transition plan for Niger, Mali, others. Clark to Tinubu applied doctrine of necessity to resolve Ondo impasse. And the Daily Independent, CBN considers 500 billion naira in new recapitalization plan for banks. That's how much I can take with me for the papers. Kemi.
And next is Business AM, leading with this report that says corporate exodus unravels disastrous, Buhari-nomics shaky, Tinubu-nomics. It says, with analysts, according to Business AM, saying or finding the exits of majors, P&G, Equinor, GSK, Sanofi, Aventis, very worrying, right? You could get to read that. And data exposes failure of aviation hierarchy to position Nigerian airlines for global play. That's also on Business AM, as well as this report on commodities and agriculture, focusing on cocoa boom. Well, it says that this spurs theft. High price of cocoa sparks a rush of criminal activity in West Africa. Get details there. And next is national economy. The lead story there is captioned, on the $168 billion remitted funds in 8 years, diaspora or Nigerians living in the diaspora warn of decline in remittances in 2023 as global economic hardship bites harder. Nigeria's pharmaceutical imports surged to 81.81 billion naira in the third quarter of the year. And Nigeria secures a $150 million battery manufacturing deal with Chinese investors. These and more on national economy. Business Day reports with Flutter Wave plotting Africa remittance dominance with 13 U.S. licenses as inflation pushes companies' salary costs to 13-year high. Also on Business Day, bureaucracy stuns 60 of Nigeria's oil blocks. Bureaucracy stuns 60 of Nigeria's oil blocks. Quickly, let's check out the Daily Times. Up above the masthead, FG borrowing anti-people, wasteful, unconscionable. That's according to a Catholic bishop's leader speaking there. This was revealed by the president of the Catholic Bishops' Conference of Nigeria. And on the rising kidnapping, security agents battling to block replay of the Jonathan era, talking about the insecurity pervading the nation's capital. There's tension, the Daily Times says, in the nation's capital. Terrorists invade Kaduna community, casualties unknown as residents flee, and how bandit kingpin Jan Bros and his followers were killed in Niger State. That's according to the Nigeria Air Force. On this Nigeria, beside the masthead, CBN blames deposit money banks as well as customers' high volume withdrawals for naira scarcity. That's been a recurring issue. But the big story there is on Nigeria's oil revenues shrouded in secrecy. That's a position declared by SERAP, as it has now gone on to demand full disclosure from the federal government of all the oil daily productions by NNPCL as well as exports. And it says that SERAP may seek legal redress in 7 days to push for compliance. NDLEA busts drug abuse competition at wedding party in Kaduna State, arrests groom and 25 others. Kaduna drone attack, 109 senators donate December salaries to victims. And joblessness responsible for sudden rise in armed robbery. That's according to the Civil Liberties Organization, which says police have lost focus, only mount roadblocks to collect money. The Punch is next. Dangote Refinery, of course, the much talked about breakthrough that is, but now there's this report on the Punch saying diesel jet A1 hit market in January, petrol delayed. Piecemeal crude oil supply delays PMS. Two others marketers welcome aviation fuel and diesel production as, of course, the big wait for petrol continues. Africa's largest refinery expects supply of 5 million barrels of crude beginning from late January. On the Akere Dolu matter in Ondo State, Punch says that Assembly will not probe signature forgery allegation. That's according to lawmakers. And external reserves fall by $520 million in 5 weeks. Nigeria's revenue not enough to support development, says the IMF and PFS, that's the pension fund administrators, make 8 trillion naira profit from pension investment. Quickly to this day now, leading with ECOWAS leaders saying that it is time to activate counterterrorism standby force, promise gradual easing of sanctions. On Niger, set up committee. Tinubu stresses need to re-engage nations under military rule and says move key to fast-tracking return to civil rule. Hails George Weah for conceding defeat in Liberian poll. Still on the This Day newspaper. All right, senators donate 109 million naira to Kaduna bombing victim. That has also been captured in previous papers. And on to Nigerian News Direct newspaper, leading with the ECOWAS resolution saying no place for military rule in Africa. That's attributed to the president, Bola Tinubu, who chairs the ECOWAS bloc, says Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso alliance will not weaken ECOWAS' resolve for democracy as ECOWAS announces re-engagement plans, demands short transition strategy, assures Sierra Leone, Guinea-Bissau presidents of disturbances. Let's check out the last paper now, which is Nature News. Still on the ongoing COP28, African gets 3 slots in loss damage fund. And on the fossil fuel phase-out, well, this development is stirring up controversy at COP28 in Dubai. So that's the much I have with me.
All right. So many issues on the papers this morning, but what seemed to take the day is a matter of senators donating their December salaries to the victims of the Kaduna bombing. It's quite interesting to see, and a number of Nigerians have lauded this move by the senators to donate their December salaries. And we hope that the victims themselves are the beneficiaries of these donations from not just the Senate, but other well-meaning Nigerians and other groups that have come out to, support this victims, so to speak.